Hi guys, I'm Julien here, one of the Ranger in Fota. It is today International Sloth Day, so we'll learn a little bit more about sloth. I've just given some food to Matheo. So Matheo is our resident sloth here. It's a young male. He's 3 years old, came from Stuttgart, where he was born in Germany. And he's with us for nearly 2 years now. Hopefully he will come out so we can show you a little bit more. But that's pretty much what they're gonna do during the day. These guys spend a lot of time sleeping. So you're looking at about 14 to 18 hours a day sleeping. They're all solitary animals and nocturnal. So obviously when it's nice and bright, he'd rather sleep. So Matheo is a two-toed or Linne's two-toed sloth. It's one of the 6 species of sloth. So they would be classified in two different families. So we have 4 species that are part of the 3-toed sloth, and then 2 which would be the 2-toed sloth. So it's probably one of the larger species. These guys will range between 7 to 10 kg. And he's I said he's 3 years old. It's still quite, he's probably have a little bit of growing to do, a little bit more, but that's pretty much adult size there. They usually reach maturity between 3 to 5 years. I said it's the only sloth we have at the moment, but it doesn't really bother him. These guys don't live in groups or herd or anything like that. They are solitary animals, so he's happy out on his own. He's got a few friends around the tropical house, but he's not going to interact with them. We have Gregory here, the green iguana, which they usually kind of stay away from each other. They are not going to be great friends. So we have in his food dish there, we've got a range of fruit and veg and some leafy greens as well. So we've got salads. So that's pretty much what we're going to give him during the day. So we get 2 feeds a day, roughly between 200 to 300 grams of food per meal. He's got available as well some of the browse. So he will nibble on especially the new leaves on the ficus tree there we have in the tropical house growing. We will supply him as well with different browse coming from the outside, so some sally or willow or things like that he's going to nibble at as well. And that would be the main part of the diet these guys would have in the wild. It's mainly leaves. They have a really slow metabolism, so they will eat a lot, but it's going to take a long time to digest. So sloth live in a tree. They're all arboreal species. Most of the time, they're only going to come down to the ground usually once a week, and that's for going to the toilet. So having that slow metabolism, they're only going to have to go to the loo once a week. And he's got, we know he has a favorite spot, so we just pick up after him. But it's it's not a daily routine, so it's actually quite good. He's going to spend most of the time again hanging down. These guys have evolved to live in the tree and then spend most of their time hanging off the branches. They evolved as far as their hair on the body growing a different way. So they will grow away, for example, on the belly. The hair would grow away towards the back. That means when you're upside down and it's raining, the rain's actually going to run down alongside the hair. So they won't get wet on the inside. They can actually stay quite warm. And there is some algae. So sometimes in the wild or in captivity, the sloth looks a little bit greenish in color. It is because there's a lot of algae growing on the hair, and that will so provide in the wild a little bit of camouflage, so they will be really blending in a little bit more with that green color into the leaves. But also once they're going to groom their hair, it's an additional nutrition they're going to get from the algae that's growing on their body. And then obviously those long powerful claws that will just help them to hang off the branches. So I said they go down once a week on the ground. That's where they're really vulnerable to predators. Things like jaguars or ocelots would actually being able to tag them a lot easier on the ground. Fairly slow animals. but they can move quickly. They would have a burst of energy if they need to run away from a predator. These guys can actually swim as well. They've been seen crossing rivers. Now in the tropical house, we haven't seen him swimming. I'd say he doesn't really need the swimming. Probably that behavior in the wild would be just to reach other sources of food or potential mates during breeding season. He's got everything he needs here, so he doesn't have to really go for a dip. And he would get most of his so he's got a water dish as well in case he needs it, but they're going to get most of their water intake through the fruit and veg that he's going to get. There's definitely few things that he likes, like those baby sweet corn. That's one of his favorite. He also likes cooked potatoes, so he's a little bit Irish on that way. He definitely loves his cooked potatoes. We're gonna use those items actually to. We're gonna do a little bit of training with him just to get him to come to us to get fed. That just gives us an opportunity to have a good overall look, as he's going to try to get a bite as well. In that food item, we can just check his teeth and inside of the mouth if there's any issues. So that's that's going to be one of the main sort of training we're going to do with him. We won't cuddle him or pick him up or anything like that. That's something he doesn't really like. So we're just going to leave him alone, just call him to get fed, but then after that he's just going to go back to probably his afternoon or his day snooze. And but we're happy enough that we could have had a good look and fairly close to him. We don't have anything to do. He will, by moving, and I say mainly at night, so we can actually see him moving. We have different cameras, security cameras, that we can monitor his activity during the night, which is a lot more than during the day. But that's just that activity on the branches and different surfaces will make out that he's going to wear out his nails. But we don't have to do any nail clipping or filing, and it's the same with the teeth anyway. We're not doing anything. We're just keeping an eye on it. But so far, we haven't had to do anything. It doesn't seem to be disturbing anyone. As I said, he himself and Gregory all tend to really keep away from each other, and he's going to know where the iguana is, so he's not just going to go in his way. If that happened, so Gregory the iguana would probably show off a little bit, which Matheo usually turn around and then find another branch to go on. The other resident would be. We've seen him on the ground by the tortoises, but again, there's no interaction whatsoever. And then the butterfly then next, which again, some of the butterfly might land on him, but it doesn't have any incidents. It's no problem for the butterfly or Matheo, really. We wouldn't have his close relative, which would be the anteaters, which would be the closest relatives to the sloth, and obviously the other species of sloth. So I said the 5 other species. There used to be a 7th species, which was the giant land sloth, which went extinct. I'm pretty sure it's around 10,000 years ago, which was nearly the size of an elephant. So that would have been quite interesting to come across those animals. There is one of the 3-toed dwarf sloth, which would be quite endangered. The others are not endangered quite yet, but there is a lot of pressure. Obviously, these guys live in the rainforest, and then, as we say, South America, for example, we have a habit of clearing a lot of land there, which would be losing prime habitat to these guys. So if they're not endangered yet, there is conservation effort done, and because they might in the near future become endangered. Sloth wouldn't make a good pet, no. As I say, you need a really good big space. They need specific care, really, or specialized care. So it wouldn't be a pet for everyone, really. poor sight, and the hearing is not great either, but they have a really good sense of smell, which is going to allow them to find food in the wild and even smell predators before they get to them. Predators in the wild would be mainly, so we are talking about cats, jaguars, ocelot, RP eagle as well in South America would be known to take sloth from the trees, so really large bird of prey. Anacondas as well, as the sloth would travel through water, they've been recorded of anacondas taking sloth. Yeah, we have exciting news for Matheo. We've got a young female coming up as part of the EEP breeding program, the European breeding program. So that young female may be coming in towards the end of this year or early next year. We are not sure. There's a few things, especially with the current climate, with moving things around Europe, and hopefully, they'll get along really well, and they can both participate to the breeding program. So we will be obviously making a few changes to the tropical house. So we're going to add purpose-built night quarters for the sloth, so that's going to be happening over the next month or so before the female comes in. So we have everything ready, brand new night quarters, and then they'll be possibly a little bit more visible to the public that Matheo was until now. So thanks guys for listening. Hope we will bring you a few more updates from the tropical house while the tropical house remain closed, but we will get a few things ready for you.